it's Liz from Old Sables Craft. How are you this morning? Warm and sunny morning. It's a sunny day. So tomorrow we're going to have thunderstorms. Hey ho. So if you are joining me live, please let me know that you are joining and where you're from. And you know, a weather report's never a bad thing. Just realised I've got punches all over my desk from other projects, so let me just pop those away because I don't need those, or I probably won't need those. So what I do need is to just blow my nose. So how is everyone? We have had 2 whole days. Well, this will be the second. Oh no, that's not fair. We've had quite a few days of really nice weather. Yesterday got up to 29-30 degrees, and the same is forecast for today. That it for the UK is quite hot. I know for other parts of the world it isn't, but for the UK it is quite warm. So yeah. As I say, if you are watching live, it would be lovely if you logged onto your YouTube account and got involved in the live chat. You just log on and you should see that there's live chat. If you don't have the picture full, you have to have it within YouTube and the live chat will be on the right hand side. If you're watching on the replay, if you've got any questions or comments, you can leave those below the description bar and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I am up to date and I'm thirsty, excuse me. I'm trying to keep hydrated because it is quite warm. So today I have dug out, I've had it for a little while, the From Our Home, which is a sketched, let's see if I can just about see it. So there's 2 houses and a tree and some sentiments. The sentiments are from our home to yours. Thank you for your hospitality and home sweet home. So, you know, I can see there are 6 viewers and no one has commented, which makes me sad. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing some watercolouring. So I have done some stamping in advance because StazOn's a bit of a, you know, to clear up. So I thought it would be better if I did that first. So let me flip the camera down. I have a rough idea of what I'm doing, but you know. So what I should just remind you, as of Thursday's the 1st, isn't it? As of the 1st of August, I will not be a Stampin' Up demonstrator. My resignation will be official. I will still try to keep you up to date with what's happening in the Stampin' Up world, but while I'm not a demonstrator, I won't get early information. What I can tell you is bonus days are still running. What I can probably tell you is if there was anything exciting in this week's updates. I know a few people are waiting on some dies before they finish their bonus days orders. So let's have a look and see what's in stock. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, so all of the dies are back in stock. There's quite a few things that are low inventory, but I say quite a few, actually not that many. So if you have been waiting to place an order, wherever, whoever, this is Europe only, all the dies that were out of stock are now in stock. So you can get your bonus days, and then from the 1st of August, you can use your bonus days vouchers off an order in August. Don't think there's much else. Oh, I was going to check the updates. Never mind, I won't. So I have already printed or stamped on our Fluid 100 paper, the large house and the small house twice. I'm thinking I'm going to be die cutting these. I still can't get over the fact. Maybe I need to refresh the chat because no one's there. It's thinking about refreshing. But yes, I'm not seeing any comments. Maybe if I log on to YouTube here, I will be able to see the comments. But at the moment I can't see comments, which I do find sad. My videos. So let's have a look. Live. Oh, it's not showing on my videos. Boo. Anyway, maybe there's something wrong with the chat. I'd say leave me a message, but that won't work. So who knows what's going on with the live chat. Maybe it just isn't happening. I am desperate to see it. Let me see if I can pick it. Oh, there we are. It's come. It's arrived. Yay. So we've got Judith. We've got Mary from the Netherlands. Karen, I'm guessing from South Pacific because she's saying good evening. B, 27 degrees in the Netherlands. I'm definitely not going outside, said Mary. Hello, Karen from a very warm south of England craft room. Hurrah. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Christine from Sydney. You are here. It was taking a while for my chat to refresh. Rose is here from Victoria in Australia. Thank you, Karen. There is a DSP sale on some of the annual catalogue papers from the 6th of August. Hello, Leslie. You're not late. I've been blethering. So I am going to use our watercolour pencils. I'm going to be mixing both packs because, you know, I have got a blending pen, but I probably won't be using it because a blending pen on watercolour paper is not great. I do have the small water painter, and I will remind you about the water painter in a bit because there are things you need to know. So I have got a pencil sharpener, so that's good. I'm going to start with the trees down here, and I will bring it up so you can see it every now and again. So I'm starting with Old Olive, but I'm not going to just use Old Olive. Old Olive is quite a dull green. It's the colour of an old green olive. Oh dear. Hey ho. Sorry, my humour doesn't get any better with heat. This is Granny Apple Green, which I'm going to put over the top just to brighten that a bit. I didn't want full Granny Apple Green, which can be rather in your face and isn't really the colour of any trees. Oh good, I'm already so hot that I'm sticking to my table. It's always a plan. I've had the windows and the roof open for as long as I could this morning. So that's the trees. This is Cajun Craze. We've also got Early Espresso, and in the new set, I believe we also have Pecan Pie. We do. So this is the new first set, if you see what I mean. So let's have a look. One of these is Pecan Pie, but which one? I'm guessing that one. Yes. So I'm thinking Pecan Pie is probably best for tree trunks. So who's arrived? We've got, hello, Nora and Jan from a lovely sunny Wheatley, just over the hill. So that's a better point. So let's add some bran. Now a lot of this is going to get washy because we're looking at watercolour. You can't really control watercolour that well. So just bear that in mind, that some things will wash. I'm going to go garden green for the little bush that's down here, and then I'll bring this up so you can have a look. So that's all I've done so far. Sorry, it's going in and out a bit, but hopefully you can see that. Hello, Michelle, joining from Australia. Yay! Right, so we're going for houses. So I'm thinking Cajun Craze for the roofs. Like tiled roof. Now to me this is not, it's not a British street. There are very few streets in the UK that look like this with steps up. Some London streets have this sort of look, but they wouldn't have the frontage looking the way that it is. So I'm, yeah, just putting that out there. Right, I'm going to go Early Espresso for the side wall here. I could really, you know when you're a kid and it's a hot day, and I apologise to those of you in the South Pacific because you're preparing for your winter. Our summer has only arrived this last week. It's been the most appalling... Oh, I just realised that light's not on. That makes a bit of difference. Our July has been appalling. June wasn't much better. It was a bit better, but not much. So yes, it is quite warm here, and we're not really set for warm weather in the UK. We get it so infrequently that most houses certainly don't have air conditioning. We do in our bedroom, ironically. So when we lived in West London, I'm just going to kind of go grey in a few areas. When we lived in West London, our bedroom faced south and was extremely hot in this sort of weather. So we always promised ourselves that when we moved, our bedroom would have air conditioning so that we didn't have to put up with the fact it was so hot. This is really kind of random. It's a watercolour, so things aren't going to stay put. Which stamp set I am using from Our Home, which is in the new annual catalogue. I can't even tell which ones are windows and which ones are walls to a degree. So yes, we promised ourselves that we would have air conditioning in our bedroom. We use it so infrequently as to really not have needed it. But anywho, it's nice to know that it's there, and I think we might be using it tonight because although it wasn't too hot in our bedroom last night, I think with this being the second really hot day, it probably will be. And of course, because we're the UK, we're going to have 2 really hot days, and then we've got thunderstorms threatened for the next 2 days. So that will be fun. They're not definitely coming tomorrow, but they are probably coming on Thursday. It's cold in Oz. We're 2 months into winter. Are you actually into winter? I suppose you are, aren't you? Because if we're in the middle of summer, you must be in the middle of winter. But yeah. So it's predicted to be 30 degrees here today, which in old money is hot. I have no idea what 30 degrees is. Alexa, what's 30 degrees centigrade in Fahrenheit?
30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
86. So not very hot by most people's standards. But by our standards, really quite warm. So I'm just, as I say, I'm just adding some colour. Let me show you what I've got. And then I will be brushing with water for a fairly loose watercolour. I was at our local hobby craft over the weekend, and they were playing with watercolour pencils, doing all sorts of wonderful things, like, you know, actually dipping the pencil in water and all sorts of things. So there are lots of things you can do with watercolour pencils, not just use them for watercolour, but they do work very well for that. If you are using watercolour pencils, I highly recommend either watercolour paper or mixed media paper. So definitely worth having a play. Right, I think I've probably got enough grey for the moment, so I'm going to go back to my Cajun Craze. Oh, I've got a little pot plant there. So I'm going to do my steps in brick. Now the key to all watercolour is if you want to keep the colours separate, you need to actually activate them separately. And I hasten to add, I am no watercolourist. Okay, so we don't have an equivalent to the Bermuda Bay in the new first set, so I'll use the one that is Coastal Cabana, because Bermuda Bay is a retired colour now. 16 degrees in Sydney, which you think is cold. So we've had 16 degrees most of July. 16, 18 degrees. So I'm just adding a little bit of Coastal Cabana to the windows. If I had Pool Party, I would use Pool Party, but I don't, so I won't. And then I will do coloured front doors and then see where we go from there. That looks like it's... oh, that's a garage door. Okay, that's fine. So, actually I'm going to do this and then I'm going to come back and add some more colour. Apart from, I'm just going to have that little bush there in garden green. Right, so let's pop those back in there. And I need to bring in a cloth. So this is just an old face cloth. And so, water painters, first thing to remember is that they turn the wrong way around. So if you want to undo it, you need to turn it as if you're screwing it up, and vice versa. To activate, you just squeeze it. It's very easy. It says push, that's where you push, and that gets your water running. So I'm going to start with my darker colours. Now these don't run rapidly, so you're not going to end up with a puddle of water unless you squeeze hard and keep squeezing. So just wipe off once you've finished, but it will allow enough water to come through to just gently move your colour around. So I also used Cajun Craze down here on these steps. And then I will pick it up and show you where we are at this point. Oh, thank you, Leslie, for the thumbs up. So it's now a much more solid colour on that roof. 7 degrees at 8:15 in the evening with a top temperature of 15. Been cold with lots of frost throws. Wow. So I'm going to do the pecan pie trees. And I'm doing this to get the colour off. And then come in to the top of the tree. So this is a mix of old olive and granny apple green, and it gives you a really nice, not too bright, not too slushy or sludgy green. What I'm actually going to do, let me get granny apple green and oud olive. So I'm thinking there is probably going to end up not being used. So granny apple green, old olive. That's the granny apple green on its own. And that's the old olive on its own. And then when you mix the two together, you get a much nicer tree colour. Come on, focus. Ish. Oh, Karen, frosts overnight. Eek. Right, so I've done my trees. I need to do my bushes. There we go. And I'm just going to use what's left just to add a little bit at the base of that tree. And then I'm going to do the grey. And I'm being really slapdash. I'm not fussing too much. I've missed some windows out, but that's fine. So I'm just moving this grey around, and I'm mixing it onto spaces that didn't have grey, just to give some sort of shading. So on the roof here, I'll show you what it looks like at this point. So can we see? So here I've coloured the kind of raftery bits, I think they're called soffits, and then I'm going to bring what's left in so it gets a softer grey. But the key with using watercolour of any description, I mean, you can use a water painter and your inks. Just press some ink into the lid of your ink pad and pick the colour up. You can use the pencils, which are a really controllable way of using colour. But don't limit yourself to just one technique, because there are lots. And also don't think you have to be really accurate. The joy with watercolour is that you can be a bit slapdash, because it's a little bit kind of, oh, that's a garage door as well. In fact, that's a garage door. Just worked out they're garage doors. The joy with watercolour is that precision is not what you're going to get. So don't try and get precision. So Rose, Leslie's asking whereabouts in Australia you are. So I'm going to bring out, I had it just now. No, there we are. Real red. So we've got a definite front door there. So let's have a definite red front door there. And so this I'm thinking of as Pacific Point, but they just call it blue now because we don't have Pacific Point anymore. And I will actually do some here too. And oh, let's go for a yellow, a little bit of yellow front door there. I think I might add some yellow on top of my grey there to get more of a yellow garage door. So I'm going to have to be careful not to mix my colours too much. I'm not going to worry that this is supposed to have denty bits because it doesn't really matter. So this is a fairly well hidden stamp set. From memory it's towards the back of the catalogue. Now if you are a demonstrator, you should be getting a hard copy of the new mini catalogue. For those of you who aren't demonstrators, it's worth just noting that if you're into Halloween, which I'm not, there is no Halloween in the mini catalogue. There are some Halloween products on the new online exclusives, and there will be some Halloween in a scrapbook release that's coming in September at some point. Hello Carol, oh lots of lovely hearts, thank you. So I've done the doors, the basic buildings, the trees, etc. I'm just going to come in and move that Coastal Cabana around a bit for the windows. I haven't put colour in all of the window slots, and that's fine because they're all going to have a slightly different feel to them depending on what they've got behind them. And then all I've got to do is do something foregroundish, and I think all I'm going to do is be very brave. I'm going to sharpen it first. So this is black. And I'm going to add a small amount just in the foreground here. But I'm not going to go mad because black is surprisingly quite a solid colour. but I don't want to use grey because I've already got grey doing other things. So I want a bit of a contrast. So let's get a reasonable amount of water running. Probably a bit more than that. There we go. So this has got quite a lot of water running. And you can probably see, even from where you're sitting, that this is a lot darker than the the basic grey that I used on the houses. This is the point where you want to make sure that you do not mix your colours unless you want to. So I'm adding some more, so just be careful round areas that have got a definite other colour. So I'm adding more water. And I'm just moving that all around a bit. Now I'm going to leave that to dry, and I will then be doing a card with it. But while that's drying, let's clean my brush to start with. Your copy arrived yesterday. Whoa! I haven't had mine yet. Apparently I will be getting one, even though I am resigning. So I'm just going to cut that off and leave that to one side. Then these two I'm going to colour in two different ways. So I'm going to use watercolour pencils for one and the matching colours for the other. So I need Old Olive, Granny Apple Green, Pecan Pie, Basic Grey. Let's go real red for the front door. Let's assume that we've got a real red front door. Have we got a front door? No, don't need that then. I need Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, and Coastal Cabana. Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, Coastal Cabana. Right, so I'm going to colour with my pencils first, and then I'm going to do the other one with the ink pads so that you can see the difference. So I'm going to start again with Cajun Craze for my roof. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and all that. Did I show you this up close? That's it, up close. It is quite pretty. Even nicer if it would focus permanently, but it's going in and out. Apologies. So that's that. Let's go Old Olive and Granny Apple Green again for my tree. Now, if you want to lay down more colour, it is easier, as in more pigment, it's easier with a sharp pencil. This is a blunt pencil and it's just adding a wash of colour, which is what I want. But if you want to add a solid colour, you're better using a pointed pencil. So that's Granny Apple Green on top. And any garden green for my bushes. Let's leave it out and remind myself I need garden green. Right, let's go Basic Grey for the side of the house. I may not need Early Espresso. And the reason I used Early Espresso on the previous house is because it had slats, as in wood cladding, on the side, or what looked like wood cladding on the side. And I think this is a kind of fence around the veranda. Oh, well, there is a front door. It's there. So I can do it. Let's use early espresso for this bit down here. Just to give a bit of contrast. There's another thing there. And then I've really only got the windows and the steps to do. Catering craze, all the steps, and a door. So there's our door. And I've gone right over the glass, not fussed really. Go stop the banner, there we are. Oh, I've got this roof to do as well. Now, what I will say before I get there is that this is going to be a much easier way of controlling my colour than using the ink pads and a water brush, because I am putting the colour exactly where I want it. Let's go in with some Cajun Craze there as well. And there. Oh, we've got a chimney stack. There we go. Right, okay. Before I colour that, I'm going to colour this, I think. Actually, no, I won't. I'll do it the other way around. I will colour first, and then... Yeah, I'm looking forward to a hard copy. I have looked at the online version, which, as a demonstrator, we get to see. There are a few things in there that I like. There's some amazing paper that's kind of jewel tones with gold foiling. I mean, not at all Christmas, but oh, what there are, for those of you in the South Pacific, are some Christmas in the South images. So Father Christmas sunbathing and things. Which I don't think I have seen ever before. I mean, it's mixed with traditional Northern Hemisphere stuff, but something. And there's a give back paper pad where money, if you purchase the paper, you get money donated to it's a childhood charity, and I can't remember what it's for. I want to say literacy, but I think I'd be wrong. So that's the tree, and then we've got our little bushes. Let's go basic grey. Let's remember I've got to do the door. So, as I've already said, the key with watercolour is to not expect minute detail. If you're wanting minute detail, watercolour is not the way to go. And these stamps lend themselves more to watercolour than to anything else. I wouldn't use your blends on them. What you could do, and we'll give it a go later, is stamp it in a colour and then use your spritzer to spread the water. Santa surfing is, yeah, it's great, isn't it, Leslie? I didn't actually colour that, but I'm going to bring that brown in. And there. So I'm just using what's left of the early espresso over there, and then I'm going to do the blue, and then we'll finally do that real red, and then we'll do this bottom one and start making some cards. Right, so that is our first one. Can I more or less focused? It's quite a small image, so it's right. I need real red and garden green. Garden green, real red. And I must decide what I'm going to do down here. And I think I'm just going to go old olive. So let's do a scribble of old olive, just as a sort of light finish. And I like to bring my foreground out so that it looks more like it's sort of meant to be. And that gives it a more finished look because it's actually got something to sit on. So, wish me luck, because I'll need it. So let's start with Cajun Craze. So these, obviously, I'm going to have to do the colour as I go. So, Cajun Craze. Actually, I am going to, so I'm going to take a clean brush and give it a reasonable amount of water. I'm going to add water where I want my colour to be. I was just looking for the original for this one. It's there. It's right in front of me. So I'm just adding a little bit of water where I want that colour to be. And then we can pick up, and it means you're less likely to get a hard line, because even though the paper is now kind of damp rather than wet, damp means you're not going to get a hard line, and you don't really want a hard line in the middle of where you're colouring. I wonder if, I'm just going to try, may not work, I'm going to try zoom. Will it let me zoom? That's supposed to zoom, and it's not. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back to Pip. I thought I had a zoom set up, but clearly I don't. It's now telling me I'm on Zoom when I'm actually on picture-in-picture, but hey, there we go. So do clean your brush well when you've finished. That's all the, oh no, I need a tiny bit more. I need a tiny weeny bit of Cajun Craze just there on the steps. Right, so that's my Cajun Craze done. Even if for some reason you've been storing your ink pads the other way up, like if they're really well inked and you want to get some of the ink back into the ink pad, if you've added water to the lid, please don't do that. Right, basic grey, because otherwise the water will drop into the ink pad, which you really don't want happening. So let's add some water there. Now this, I am going to add water round the windows, but I'm going to have to do a bit of pushing the colour round anyway, because it's a really small space. Right. You've been very quiet today. You know how much it worries me when you're quiet. So if you are watching live or on the replay, if you don't already subscribe, I would love it if you did. And you can do that just by hitting that subscribe button, which should be in the bottom right hand corner. And then if you want to know when I'm posting, or when I've posted, you hit the alert bell for all, and then you go to your settings and you oh, I missed out that whole veranda roof, and you allow YouTube to actually send you notifications. And if you don't do it in your settings, you won't get notifications. So just bear that in mind. You have to do it in 2 places. Phew, that almost worked. Oh, did I? No, that was grey. Brown, rather. So let's clean that. As I say, I've just noticed where I didn't put the Cajun craze, so let's sort that out. I'm going to just refresh my chat because I have a suspicion that things have frozen. So I need this in Cajun craze, and I'm going to do it really quickly because I've not put water on there first. There we go. So now I can't see any chat because it's refreshing. Okay, so I'm going to go Coastal Cabana next, which has got a tiny weeny amount in the lid. And as I only need a tiny weeny amount on the windows, that's fine. Possibly not even that much. And the reason I'm using the same colours as before, rather than, so I said it would be nice if I had Pool Party for the windows. There isn't a Pool Party pencil, so I want you to see the difference between strictly this is Cajun craze, this is Cajun craze, etc. Pecan pie I don't think I'm going to need. Oh, it's really worrying me when I can't see that it's refreshed or not. Got the tiniest amount of real red, which is all I need for the front door. There we go. Come on, refresh. And early espresso. Aha! Thank you, Debbie. Relaxing watching me colour. Thank you. So this is early espresso, very dark colour. When I first joined Stampin' Up 8 years ago yesterday, just saying, I was advised that if I wanted a dark colour that wasn't black but looked like black, the early espresso was the way to go, and I would agree. Right, so I've watered that right down just to bring a little bit onto this front step and the back step, and I think I brought it up there as well. So now I think I've only got the greens to do. So green, green, green and green. I'll go, ooh, garden green hasn't been squished. Right, so to squish ink into the lid of your ink pad, you literally just press your ink pad. They're not as forgiving as they used to be on the old design of ink pad, but you can do it. If you really can't do it, an elbow works like that sometimes. There we go. Lots of green. Don't need that much green, but hey. And this is just for the bushes. So So I've got a little bit of green, quite a lot of water. You can add shading by adding more colour at the bottom. So that's all my garden green. And I am going to use Old Olive, and then might need a bit more of that. You can tell the ones I use more frequently for watercolouring because their lids are giving a bit. Now I'm going to do the wash down here first. And then I can add some more saturated colour nearer to the house. How are we doing for time? Quarter of an hour. That should be fine. So that's, oh, I don't need to clean it because I need, so actually I'm going to use wet coloured water. Of course it's wet, it's water. I'm going to use coloured water. So that's Old Olive water, in that it's only got a very slight amount of colour in it. And then I'm going to come in and pick up more colour. Like that. And then Granny Apple Green. Not going to worry about cleaning my brush too much. And don't worry about coming outside the lines a bit, that's fine. And that is finished. So let me see. Oh, it's suddenly getting very hot. So, the bottom one is a more saturated colour, but you can see that they are basically the same. So I'm going to grab some dies, and assuming I've put them back in alphabetical order, I do know which ones I want. I'll then discover they don't have the right size, but the perennial postage stamp I think are rather nice dies. So let's have a look. I don't think it's going to be, so that will probably do nicely for those two. Will. Yep. And for this one I'm going to do a bit of piecing. Well, not piecing, cutting down. So I'm going to leave these to dry just a little while I do this one. So I want those two, that one, and that one. So I will try and get this so that you can see what I'm doing. First cut's easy. All I'm going to do, let's move some things out of the way. So all I'm going to do is pop my die where I want it. And so I'm lining it up with the bottom of my stamped image, and then wind that through. So I've moved it so I can hardly get it out the other side now. So we've got straight edge at the top, which obviously we don't want. So let's see, I'm going to come down to, No, I'll go back up one. I can feel that that has slotted in to the previous pass of the die. Karen, I wish I could say yes, my health is improving. I'm not going to go all the way through, and I will explain why in a minute. But I've still been quite busy sorting out resigning. So as yet, no, not really. I'm hoping once I am fully resigned that things will improve. They're not getting any worse, and that I think is a plus. So we've got this postage stamp. Hello, Heather from a rainy Ohio. I'm not sure I like that quite that high at the top. I'm going to take it down one. And this is what you can do. So you can die cut your first thoughts and then go back and have another go. Because for me, that isn't quite low enough. That should hold everything in place. So again, I'm just going to go until it bites there and then come back. The heat doesn't help particularly, Karen, with some of the problems that I've got. So I'm sure we'll get there. I have been told that if I can cut the stress, things should improve. So I'm, going with that. So these two are going to be easier because I just want them die cut. I am still going to use that sticky thing so it doesn't move. And it means I can bring that back to the middle. What is the stamp set for? It's the, I'll show it to you in a minute. It's the From Our Home, but I'll show it to you in a minute when I'm not running things through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. It's well hidden in the annual catalogue. Is what it is. So my expectation with regards to my health is that it's going to take some time for it to be, oh bless you Leslie, for it to really have a positive impact. But I'm setting my expectations quite low so that it's all fine and dandy, as it were. Right, now if I had a bit more time I would probably die cut some layers. Don't. Might have. So we've got our 3 images, and it is from our house, which has got from our home. So this is from our home to yours. Thank you for your hospitality. Home sweet home. A tree, and then this little shadow, which is to go under the tree. So those are our 3 images. I am going to quickly pull some coloured card, including this. So I'm going to put them on basic beige, which is a nice neutral, and I'm going to go, where are you? P. Pool party. Ironically, Granny Apple Green, ironed. I might go dark. Do I want to go that dark? I wonder. Yeah, why not? In fact, there's probably a piece in there that will do nicely. So, let's have a quick look at what we've got in the way of dies that might... Yeah, you see the next size up from that is this, so that ain't going to work quickly. Okay, so we'll cut Oh, bless you, Leslie. And Heather. Oh, and Sherry. Thank you. I'm kind of sort of relaxed about it. I know it's going to improve. So I'm just trying to look after me. I've had some, it's been quite interesting actually. And this is not me moaning as such. So yesterday was my 8th anniversary of being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Talk about bookends. So I'm doing, I might do one of them that way. And so it was, my upline very kindly mentioned that in the Facebook group. Someone said, because obviously I'm being very open about the fact that I'm coming back, but just for me. Someone actually said, why don't you just think again and not retire, or resign rather? And I was thinking, if only. Oh, thank you, Carol. Oh, bless you, Nora. But yeah, it was like, really? Do you think I didn't think long and hard about this? Because I did. So I'm going to do one of the small ones that way, one that way, and then the big one that way. So this is going to be for the big one. So I'm tempted to adhere this and then trim to size. I'm going to use liquid adhesive. And, that was a moment and a half. So I was out last week sometime, can't remember exactly when, back end of the week though. Got home, looked at the post, and there was an envelope from Sarah Douglas, who, bless her, had handwritten a note to me, which blew me away. So for those of you who don't know, Sarah Douglas is the CEO of Stampin' Up. So, you know, she's got other things to worry about than a demo in the UK who's decided to resign. Really must change this blade because it's not very sharp. And that's not stuck on very straight, but never mind. Anyway, the kindest, nicest, most amazing note. I was just blown away. I'm going to do all my cutting and then all my sticking. I think that's going to be big enough for one of these. And I'm tempted to use that one. Oh, look at that. Made for it. But yeah, that one is going to be kept. I do have a box of what I call personal cards. That one's a keeper. It may actually end up in a scrapbook. But it completely blew me away. Right, so that's those two. And then I've got this small piece of Granny Apple Green, which may or may not work. Let's have a look. Oh, there is a... No, that's too small. No, I think it will work. I do. So again, I'm going to stick and then cut. But we went out to supper at some friends over the weekend, and a few weeks back I went on a, just realised that's under there, a few weeks ago I went on a workshop how to do a hand-tied bouquet, and you know, it's a work in progress, but whereas habitually I've taken flowers if I've been invited somewhere, or we've been invited somewhere for dinner, now I'm taking hand-tied bouquets. And where's the stamp set gone? Stamp set, where are you? Thank you. Oh yes, that'll work. And So I've been taking hand-tie bouquets. And the chap said, of course, now you've got more time, you can do these things. And it was like, yeah. Oh, Carol, it blew me away. And I mean, I had emailed a couple of the senior staff who I've met on incentive trips and at backstage and stuff like that, just to thank them for their support as much as anything. I'd already had a message, as in Facebook message, from not one of those actually, but another lady who is very senior, Jill Taylor. There's a reason I've done that to one side, and I will explain that in a moment. And so, as I say, I hadn't messaged her, sent her an email or anything, so that was lovely. And then this arrived with, and basically she was, I mean, I won't give you everything that she said because it's quite personal, but she was saying, from everything I've heard, you've been really, well, basically I've done the honourable thing around why I've done what I've done. That didn't make any sense at all. It did to me, but wouldn't have done to you. So again, that one's offset, and I will explain why. Oh, thank you, Karen. If that was the yellow one that I did over the weekend, yes, that one's they are getting better. The problem with a hand-tied bouquet that I find, and it may be me, it may just, I think it's practice, the first sort of 10 or 12 pieces that you put in kind of don't feel like they're in the right place, and they all feel a bit kind of floppy, and then it suddenly feels right, and it's just the strangest thing. And at that point, the spiral seems to sort of work. It's just weird. Anyway, I stupidly threw away my pieces, and I want them. So I'm going to go, actually no I'm not, I'm going to go, thank you for our no, I am going, first decision's normally the best, from our home to yours. Now, I was talking about early espresso being ... I'm going to go early espresso so that it's not black. That may sound really strange. So, from our home to yours, almost straight. That one is straight. I want it 3 times. So, from our home to yours, actually I'm going to use my little chopper. I'm glad it makes sense, Carol. It didn't in my brain. I mean, it was something like she'd heard nothing but good things about how I was dealing with my resignation. You know, it was really hard. It's the right decision. I know it's the right decision, but it was a difficult decision. But sometimes you just have to make the difficult decision. Now, I'm using the watercolor paper. I'm just trying to straighten this up because it isn't. I'm using the watercolor paper because white and vanilla will not match. And I will show you certainly the white in a minute. That's almost straight. Might do the rest of it with scissors. This one is almost as crooked. It kind of works. The concern I had, because I've seen it with other people, when they decide they're giving up, they just give up, and it leaves customers and team kind of hanging without much of a home, and that to my mind is just so wrong. Right. Let me just find some white. This is what I mean by it just doesn't go, does it? May not show, but it just doesn't go. Ooh. So apparently I'm taking exercise at the moment. That's what my watch is telling me anyway. Right, that's going to have a slightly longer. So that's for that one. That's for that one. And then this one I'm going to try and cut straight. Hello, Francis from Adelaide. You're just joining us as I'm about to finish, but you can re-watch on replay. So, oops, that one's going to go the right way up, but it's going to go down there. Right, so let's do this thing. Are those going to be too big? Yeah, that's what edge pieces are for. So that's going there. Ooh, I think that's the wrong. Not all of the dimensionals were the ones you buy. Some of these ones are from a kit and they're slightly fatter. And this I didn't use those on, so let's use the right size. Oh, bless you, Leslie. I've had some lovely messages from them. I mean, I've had mostly lovely messages, apart from the weird one that just said, "Why don't you change your mind and stick around?" Because that's just not going to work. There we go. So that's that one. This one I've cut longer because it's got a longer space to fill, but I can use the piece that I rejected first time round. I'm actually going to go up a bit. And then this one, I'm almost tempted to just stick to the card. Ooh, and I've just spotted an embellishment that I think will look rather nice. That would be particularly nice if I'd cut the ends straight. So I've just caught these, which are the adhesive backed metallic gems. Oh, bless you, Karen. So, Karen, I will still be doing videos. Oh, sorry, I've sweated on that card. I will still be doing videos, so, you know, Tuesday lives will not be going anywhere particularly rapidly. I enjoy doing them, so I will continue to do so. Oop. And then a little one. Actually, that's going to go up there. So that's one. So that's the coppery colour. I'm going to go for gold for this one. Can't decide where to go. No, no. Yes. And then silver for this one because it's on blue. That is so crooked. Sorry, that is just awful. I will make you straight. I will, I will. You will be straight. Come on, glue. That's better. Phew. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Francis. Yes, do keep coming and watching. Now, anyone who hasn't had the full lowdown of why I'm resigning, there's actually 2 videos, one that says thank you for all your support and one that says this is why I'm standing down. So do by all means go and have a look at those. They're a little old now, but they're still valid. So yeah. There we go. So those are today's projects, basically doing a bit of a masterclass in watercolouring, particularly with watercolour pencils. So this was proper watercolour, this was watercolour pencils, this was watercolour pencils. I will do some close-ups and put those on my website so that you can see them, so you get a better view of the difference between them. If you're new to watercolouring, I would highly recommend the watercolour pencils. And this is watercolour on watercolour paper. You can watercolour with a blending brush, or blender pen, and that's a whole different thing. A lot of my Simple Stamping Saturday videos, particularly the older ones, will cover that. On the subject of which I will be back on Saturday. I don't know what with yet, but something. And until then, let me flip the camera back up. Hello mouse, where are you? Oh, there we are. Thank you, Leslie. Sadly, I do have to do what's right for me. So thank you very much for watching me today. I hope you've enjoyed that and the general chat. I will be back live next Tuesday, all things being equal, and recorded on Saturday. Thank you all very much for your support. Do remember, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Any questions or comments can go below the description bar when you're watching on replay. Subscribe if you don't already, and I will see you again very soon. And until then, bye for, let me find the end screen, there we are. Bye for now.